Today, I'm joined by Dr. Luciano and Shiloh, giving the Philadelphia and Bucks County area update of what's going on in the community and what's coming up next over the next few weeks. Please smash that share button below. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Press your business forward. Let's effing go. Digital lines out on this Sunday.
So I have a practice in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I'm double board certified family medicine and obesity medicine. So my company is called Healthy Solutions by Dr. Luciano. So I do personalized primary care services along with some aesthetics and medical weight loss.
I've been practicing in this area for a long time. I used to have an office called Shiloh Vein and Aesthetics. I now work for another company, USA Vein and Fibroids. We take care of people with vein disease, fibroids, peripheral arterial disease, and I also am a radiologist, so there's a bank of monitors behind me. I do teleradiology and I read CAT scans and x-rays for people in the state of Pennsylvania and actually all over the country.
Thank you for being on the lines, Den. I got some shirts for you coming directly to you when we get out of here when I see you both personally. So,
thanks, Liz.
Please give me a quick update, Dr. Shiloh, what you're seeing out there for the people that are joining us.
I think what I would tell you is since the last time we spoke, one of the things that's hit home is that I now know at least 5 people who are hospitalized. A couple of them are, really sick on ventilators in the intensive care unit. The others are sick enough to be in the hospital, but they're young people, and it's really hit home. And so it's become much more personal for me, and it's something that I want to continue to educate people to try to keep people out of the hospital.
Dr. Luciano, what are you seeing out there, my friend?
I'm seeing a lot of local hospitals getting ready for what's to come. Right now, New York's the epicenter of everything in the country. So half the cases are from there. We're 90 miles away. So this is the time to prepare, to everyone do their part because cases will increase. So we'll hopefully be prepared for that. But we're sensing that there's going to be an increase in cases over the next couple of weeks pretty dramatically.
Well, that brings me right to my next question. I mean, you guys are both on the front lines. I mean, what are you seeing out there on the front lines? What's your role in fighting this? Because I know I've talked to you both over this last week. You both have been busy doing different things. Can you tell the viewers I'll start with you, Dr. Luciano. What's your role? What are you seeing out there? What's going on?
So my role is to take care of my patients. So we've been doing a lot of telemedicine, making sure that, a lot of people have other medical conditions that's not coronavirus related. So making sure that they don't decompensate and wind up in the hospital and overwhelm our healthcare system. So continuity of care is really important right now. Try to educate other patients as well and just be available doing telemedicine for patients that aren't even mine as well. Offering my services to hospitals, see if they need any volunteer work. So there's a lot of doctors coming together and just, trying to help out.
What is the data showing you in Philly and Bucks County, Dr. Shiloh? Do you have any update? I mean, do you know what's going on there with data-wise? Because people want data. I'm seeing so many different things. I don't know what to believe. I mean, to be realistic with you, I stopped kind of watching. I told you both the news as much because I'm going to tell you right now for the viewers, my son needed plastic surgery, busted his face on Monday of last week, and Dr. Luciano and Dr. Shiloh, you helped navigate me through. But I couldn't even get in the hospital. My son had to go under. There was police officers, about 5 of them. I couldn't even get through, and they wanted to take my son by himself. Finally, a supervisor said he's 4 years old. His mother can go with him. So, I mean, it's getting crazy out there in our healthcare system. What's the data showing you, Dr. Shiloh?
Well, so the state of Pennsylvania has an excellent website, pa.health.gov, so anyone can check this information. And it gets updated at noon. At noon today, there are over 3,000 Pennsylvanians who have tested positive. In Bucks County alone, it increased from about 150 to over 200. So that's a fairly significant increase. Montgomery County affected similarly, in Philadelphia as well. We're still seeing that the largest percentage of people testing positive are under 65. About 50%, 19% are over 65, and about half the patients who are being hospitalized are under 65. So remind yourself, this is not just an older person's disease. Young people and older people are being affected and hospitalized.
So in Bucks County, it was a 33% increase in one day. I mean, that seems drastic. I mean, I know the number is small, but if I just multiply that, like you said, Dr. Luciano, we're still a few weeks away from from seeing this. That seems like that's a pretty significant jump. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, I understand math pretty well. I know data pretty well. But am I wrong, or am I just overthinking that and that seems high, but it's still a small percentage? Dr. Luciano?
No, I mean, that's a good way to Yeah, so I mean, it's a good way to interpret it. Just a couple things to be aware of. Number one, this virus spreads. One person infected will probably spread it to two or three. Okay, so that being said, there's a long incubation period, 1 to 14 days. So it could be a while before someone develops symptoms. So there's a lot of secret parts of this virus that allow it to kind of spread amongst the community to really increase numbers. So what you're seeing right now is not unexpected, because if you look at New York, I mean, it's really close to us. There's a lot of people seeding that infection around our local communities and all over the United States. So you're seeing a lot in New York right now, but the expectation is it's going to increase around the surrounding areas. And look at New Jersey as well. So I think that you're going to really see things play out the next 2 or 3 weeks if you take that into consideration. So what we're doing right now is really going to impact those next few weeks.
I know you both have very good connections to all the local hospitals here in Bucks County and Philadelphia. You both have great ties to them. Is there a shortage of supplies? I'm seeing that there is a shortage. There's not a shortage. I mean, I couldn't even get into the hospital the other day, so that was the first time I've seen something so bizarre as that. And I understand the why, so I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just using that word. It was just really a change in the new, right? Is there a shortage in supplies? I mean, Dr. Shiloh, from what you're hearing?
Well, I think we still here in the Philadelphia area and Bucks County are still okay with supplies, but it's going to potentially be a problem soon because we're not at the peak. The dean of the school at the University of Pennsylvania suggested that the peak in this disease will be in early to mid-May. So we're talking about 6 weeks away. So while we may be okay now, it's going to really be different in a couple weeks. And so we really need as many supplies as possible. People continue to donate. That will be very helpful to the healthcare providers, because you got to remember, it's not just doctors, it's nurses, radiology techs, everybody in the hospital needs to be protected at various times. So it's a lot of personal protective equipment being used on a daily basis.
Dr. Luciano, I know you did something, you donated some things. Are you hearing that from your network that there's a shortage, or they're trying to stockpile? What are you hearing here locally?
Basically, there is a shortage in places like New York, so they're the ones getting hit hard, and they're rolling through supplies really quick. And some hospitals more than others. I know some residents there that are really scared because they're now, increased to an attending level. They're basically seeing patients. There's not enough equipment. There's not masks for them. I mean, they're really frightened. So there is a real shortage in certain areas. Where we are right here, we're anticipating an increase, and when that increase happens, we need to be prepared for it because things can go very quick. So we're preparing for that potential.
This is one of the hot topics right now about the testing, right? And I've been trying not to get caught up in it, but I see NBA players and owners, everyone's getting tested, but the poor people can't get tested. Is it true it's some type of, and there's no politics here, Dr. Shiloh, we know that there's no politics, right? But is there people in higher communities, let's just say, being tested when they shouldn't be tested and the poor can't get tested? Is there a shortage of tests? Is it just bad luck? I mean, what's your honest opinion, Dr. Shiloh? So it's kind of a two-pronged question. Are they just testing wealthy people, they have access to it, and then other people can't, or is it just pot luck who's getting the test?
I think initially there was probably an element of those in power with money were being tested, and some of it was inappropriate. But now I believe the testing is much more readily available. And there are a lot of hospitals. Holy Redeemer, for example, nearby has a tent that you can get drive-through testing. As long as you call your primary care doctor, like Dr. Luciano and others, who will determine whether you really need it or not. And really, it's based on symptomatology. If you're really severely symptomatic, then you can actually get a test now. And so I think that's been a big change and a significant improvement. So hopefully that will continue.
Dr. Luciano?
Yeah, so I agree. So there is there's more tests out there, but there is still a lack of a significant amount to test everybody. So we are prioritizing. We're going by the CDC guidelines. So essentially, the most highest priority are those patients in the hospital. We need to know if they have it. We also need to know the healthcare workers who become symptomatic, do they have it, so they don't concede it to other people. The other next step is the high risk patient population. If they're symptomatic and they're high risk, we need to know because this might change our intervention. If you're well, healthy, just to get a test, there's no reason for it. You could test negative and leave the facility an hour later, get positive. You don't know it. So it's a false sense of security. So we're past that point of testing everybody. We're at the point right now where hopefully we get a serology test. Will tell us the antibodies if you developed a response to the infection, then maybe you're immune now. So then we know that you're safe to go in the community, and that's really where we can isolate the specific areas of restriction. So that's been FDA approved. It's going to take some while to roll out, but hopefully those are sent to patients' homes and we can test that in mass quantities, really put this thing in perspective.
All right, great. Let's do a quick rapid fire here. Put some myths to bed. I'm going to give you each one, okay? You can only get it once, Dr. Luciano. True or false? Dr. Luciano?
Yeah. What was the question?
You can only get the virus once. True or false?
Oh, I'm sorry. I believe that's false. There's been a couple of cases that potentially were positive, then negative, then retested positive. I think it's probably faulty test or a lack of a proper immune response with that specific patient. But we think that it is a one and done, but it might be seasonal after that. Okay,
Dr. Shiloh, your rapid fire question. I think you already answered it. Only older people should be concerned about this and scared.
That's completely false. Clearly, older people and those with comorbid conditions, by that I mean high blood pressure, diabetes, and obesity, are the ones that are at highest risk. However, right now, at least half the patients who are being hospitalized are under 65 years old. And so everyone really still needs to be vigilant and concerned.
So you guys, both your business people, you have your own practices. You're moving your business forward. This show is all about moving your business forward in digital marketing, marketing in general. You guys are both leaders in the community here. And I know people all around are going to watch this show. I think the last show with you on had over 100,000 views now. A lot of people enjoyed the show, so I appreciate it. You guys give great information out to people. But you're still working on your business. Dr. Shiloh, what are you doing to work on your business every day and moving forward?
Well, I mean, I think I'm just trying to remind myself and my patients to maintain a positive attitude, to remind themselves that they're not stuck at home, they're safe at home, and that the longer we do this as a community, as a society, the faster we'll get out of this and the faster our businesses will return to normal. And reminding my patients and others that even as the numbers continue to creep up and it seems like it's easy to get discouraged, that why are we at home? Why can't we just reopen? The numbers are going to go up anyway. That's not true. It's going to take 2 to 3 weeks for us to see the curve flatten. And so the longer we can remain vigilant and remain safe at home, the faster all our businesses will return to normal. And that's why I remind myself and I try to remind my patients.
Awesome. Dr. Luciano, what are you doing to move your business forward right now in this time?
Sure. So, we're doing a lot of telemedicine, virtual visits, making sure patient care is not skipping a beat. So continuity is important there. So we're utilizing that. We are doing direct care with the patients that aren't part of our practice. If they have questions, they can set up a consultation as well. So I can do that as well. Educating the community, making sure that people have the facts. It's a scary time, and we see all these different news sites and websites. There's so much information. So I'm trying to condense that and make it more simplified. So, that's more reassuring when you really know what's going on here. So I've been putting out some content and hopefully it's been helpful.
It's funny you said you're putting out content. I mean, full transparency, you're my primary doctor. Dr. Shiloh, you're one of my very close friends for years now. So, but Dr. Luciano, I saw you do something that I thought was probably one of the most incredible things I saw. And I told my wife, and she went and watched it. You did interviews with your sons and daughters. And I've always said, son and daughter, I apologize. And I always said to my wife, the one thing I love about you, no matter whether it be my brothers, whatever I've got going on in my life, your bedside manner, you're always polished, you're always there. You're very of a tender touch for a doctor that most doctors don't have. And I commend you for that. But I saw that interview, and like so many other doctors could learn from that. What made you come up with that idea and say, because I think you should do that weekly, because it was probably one of the best interviews I saw. And I'm not being biased here because you're my primary doctor. It was just such a human touch, and it made it so easy to understand what's going on. What made you come up with that concept, if you don't mind, real fast, before I give you guys the final word?
So number one, I'm home with my kids, so I'm trying to put out content, try to educate. I oftentimes think I talk too fast. Maybe I talk over a patient's head, and I was coming up with the idea, if my child was asking me the question, how would I respond to them? So how would I get them to understand? And I think that helped me slow down. It helped me explain, and I think it simplifies things a little bit better. So, it's been a nice little interaction between us to get a little bonding involved, but I think it also is an easier way as a physician to communicate better to the public what they're trying to convey.
Well, I would say this to Fox, MSNBC, and CNN. they're better off doing your style of interview for some of the stuff that I'm seeing than what I'm seeing there, because that was very down to earth, touching, and more people can learn from that. So I appreciate that. Well, thank you both for being on the show. I know you committed to my team that every Sunday while we're quarantined, staying through as long as this lasts, you committed to doing a weekly update on the Den. And I appreciate that, because I know you guys are both busy. I know you have practices to run, families. So from me and from Philadelphia and the Bucks County community, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for taking the time. And I look forward to seeing you next Sunday here on the Den. And thank you guys so much, and enjoy your family this week. And please stay safe out there on the front lines.
Thanks, Lance.
Thanks. My message is that, these are difficult times for everybody. They're tough for doctors. They're tough for everybody. But the better we stay together, this is really one of those times in life where we really do have to put all our differences aside and work together. And the sooner we can all understand that it's time to stay inside, to be safe, the sooner everything will return back to normal. And so there's no right answer for when businesses will reopen, except that the sooner we can get this curve flattened and going down instead of up, the sooner we will all be able to return to normal. So if everyone remembers that, then I think we will all get back to our normal way of life much sooner.
I think it's important to put this in perspective, so control what you can and understand what you can't control. So we all have a part in this. Your actions directly affect somebody else, so that is your part. So staying at home is part of the cure, or part of the treatment plan. So putting that perspective, you're doing a good thing by following the rules, essentially. So understand that taking care of yourself is really important too. Reach out to your healthcare provider if you have issues, making sure that you don't ignore those as well. And as long as we come up all together and have a united front with that, I think we're going to overcome this. Just know that we got the best healthcare providers in the world here. They're going to come up with things quickly. They're working on everything, medicine trials, vaccines. It's all going to happen. But what we do right now is really important.